Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. My name is KPZ. You're here on the home of the slightly above average ship review. Got a match for you today in the British Tier 4 Tech Tree Battlecruiser in early access, the HMS Tiger. It's got torpedoes, folks. Don't play around. All right, real quick, the history. Japan ordered Congo from the Royal Navy shipyards or British shipyards, and as a result, Britain saw how powerful it was, so they started their own design, and this is the ship that came out of that. Let's see. Assigned to the 1st Battlecruiser Squadron during World War I. Participated in the Battle of Jutland. Only lightly damaged despite taking many hits. Provided shelling cover in the Battle of Heligoland Bight in 1917. Gunnery training ship in 1924. Decommissioned and sold for scrap in 1932. British historian John Keegan says, the most beautiful battleship or the most beautiful warship in the world. I don't know about any of that. And I'll tell you, I've had better games since I played this game. This is my first game in the Tiger. But the reason I'm showing you this first game, even though it wasn't as good as some other games, was I think this game kind of captures what the Tiger can do well and what the Tiger doesn't do well. Here we did turn in time to dodge some torpedoes from carrier-based aircraft, but I'll tell you right now, if you are concertedly set upon by carrier-based aircraft, it will eventually result in your death unless someone on your team kills the carrier, or you kill the carrier. So here, more torpedoes coming in, and we really great spread on those, like almost none. We can't dodge those, so we do take those hits. Although we do continue to shoot them down. Alright, moving into the thick of it here. We've got a Farragut on the other side of the island. I guess we're just going to shoot at him there, because why not? And some other enemy ships a little bit farther away. No profile in WoW Builds Legends. Let's go back to the internet, wiki.wargaming.net. And let me peel just a few stats off here. Max dispersion, 172 meters. The HE shell velocity, 787 meters per second. The AP shell velocity, 787 meters per second. The shell weight is the same, 567 kilos. Fire chance of the HE and all that stuff. We'll go over all that in the port at the end of this match. Alright, so we haven't really done a lot except shoot down some airplanes. I do want to note, I think I illustrated this a little bit earlier, the forward firing angle of the 4th turret, ABXY, the Y turret, is really terrible. So just keep that in mind. You won't be able to get that 4th turret as far forward as you think you will. I know at some point I lined it up and showed 3 turrets and then turned it till the 4th turret lined up. So you could reasonably, I'm not going to say tank, but you know, you present a pretty good side angle. You can get the first 3 turrets on target. That Y turret you're going to have to show a lot to get on target here in the Tiger. Alright, moving in, slightly confusing. Tiger 59 premium cruiser, high tiers, Tiger battleship, Battlecruiser, low tiers. What else can I say in my various matches in the Tiger? Well, don't try to outcruiser a cruiser. You know, you fall in love with these torpedoes, you'll start trying to outturn and out-torpedo a cruiser, and it will not work, folks. So please don't do that. Good damage there on the Arkansas. And here I'm going to wait until the Congo, the ship that inspired this ship, get free of the island before we launch a torpedo. They call them turning torpedoes. I didn't really experiment with the turning part. But I will note that there's a forward turret and a rear, or a forward tube and a rear tube, so on each side of the ship. So you'll be able to get one off, and then if you turn a lot, you'll be able to get the other off. Maybe that's what the turning part means. I don't know. I took it to mean the torpedoes would turn in the water through some kind of remote aiming malarkey. There we do take a pretty good hit from the Arkansas. Arkansas is a pretty heavy broadside. We all know that. But at the end of the day, we're able to survive that and move on. Right now, our team is losing. We're down one ship. Although we do have a... Apparently... Oh, no, we don't even have a point lead. We're losing in all facets. Alright, we're set on fire twice. I am shooting at that faraway ship. And there is an Iwaki that's trying to come after me. So we'll shoot the rear turrets at the Iwaki. And don't do a whole lot of damage there. Turning. I think we did get a assisted base cap somewhere in all my blabbering. And the Iwaki is going to come to a screeching halt in the smoke, throw up a smoke screen. We're continuing to be attacked by carrier planes. Managed to dodge torpedo. Some overpens there on the Iwaki, trying to line up my rear turrets and shoot those out there. And that is a Citadel hit, Dev Strike. Kill number 1 in the Tiger. Alright, more carrier aircraft coming in here. We're going to eat these 2 torpedoes. Not really anything we can do about that. And so I think you're starting to get an idea that the ship is vulnerable to carrier-based aircraft. And you would be correct, and especially carrier-based aircraft using torpedoes. Alright, speaking of carriers, we are going to go after the carrier here because A, it's the closest enemy ship, and B, he is killing me. So we're going to go after the carrier. You are relatively quick. I wouldn't say this is fast. To me, a battleship that goes over 30 knots is fast. I'm not running any speed boost flags on the ship, so it is not officially fast, but it is not slow. We're moving out here. There is the enemy carrier. I believe that is the Rhine. And that is a pretty juicy hit, including another Citadel. 3 pens. So I will take that, and we have his health. And just our front 2 turrets. Rear turrets coming around, pardon me. I'm cognizant that I could turn into an island here. The Rhine is going to try to bow tank. We're healing up. We get another pretty good hit considering the bow profile. More torpedoes coming in, yes. We will not be able to avoid them. And now here's one of those things where you turn so hard, now you're like, turn back the other way, turn back the other way. And I just can't do it. A little hard to correct. So I'm like, hey, wait a minute. I have torpedoes. Let's use them. Because I'm being torpedoed. More torpedoes coming in from the Rhine. And he's continuing to turn into my shots and bow tank. So, while I don't necessarily advise trying to bow tank anything in a carrier, it is working. We get that rear launcher on target and fire that off. We do get the high caliber medal. Continuing to come under fire. More airplanes coming in. And we do get the clear sky medal. And there we go. Finish off the carrier with a torpedo strike for a second kill. A Pyrrhic victory nonetheless. Alright, believe it or not, I'm going to forward to the end of the match. But my teammate in the destroyer made an incredible play. I think I'll leave that in. But we'll skip ahead to that part in the match. Alright, well, he's launching torpedoes. I guess incredible play is a bit of hyperbole. I mean, I was just astonished that he didn't screw this up. So he did manage to kill one of the other ships, making a one-on-one. Here he just threw these torpedoes out, and I'm in torpedo cam, and I'm like, he's going to miss. You know, right there, I'm like, he missed. And now that he missed, he's going to come out here and get spotted and get evaporated by this cruiser, and we're going to lose this match. And then, lo and behold, will wonders never cease. He does take out the enemy ship with a no-look torpedo strike. And we win the match. So, GG to that destroyer player. And you'll see on the scoreboard, that is reflected there. All right, here we are on my favorite screen, the victory screen. Devastating strike metal, high caliber metal, clear sky metal. We ended up with 77,481 total damage, 1 torpedo strike, 20 airplanes, 2 kills, and an assisted base cap. We ended up just short of 220,000 silver, over 7,800 ship XP, over 8,100 commander XP, and a ton of progress ribbons in the Tiger in early access. And we did get the oil, yes. We are not top of the board. That is reserved for the Jean Wei. Good game to you, sir. And there we are in the Tiger. 3 medals, 2 big kills. Speaking of Jean Wei, if you haven't checked out my Jean Wei video, you owe it to yourself to check out that video on my channel. Maybe I'll remember to link it in about the 1 minute mark of this game. Anyway, let's go back into the port here and take a look at the ship. I don't necessarily love this new UI. All right, here in the port, it is early access. We went with Aiming Systems Mod 1, and it is a fully upgraded ship. Taking a look at the loadout, 3 charges of the repair party, 2 charges of the engine boost, 3 charges of the enhanced secondary targeting. I really wish I could get something else instead of that. We were running the Epic Ship XP booster, the Type 3 temporary camouflage, no permanent camouflage available, and of course the 2-year strong flag. Taking a look at the specs, 49,600 hit points and a 13% torpedo damage reduction with our build. Moving on to the guns, you got 4 twin 343 millimeter turrets, 16.3 kilometer firing range, 28.4 second reload, 25 second turn time. HE shells 50-50 max damage with a 39% fire chance. AP shells 9450 max damage. 12 152 millimeter secondaries fire out 4.7 kilometers. Reload every 5 seconds. 2200 max HE shell damage. I think it's a 10% fire chance. Here's these torpedoes. They reload every 95 seconds. Max damage 10,000, but just a 6 kilometer range at 53 knots. The detectability is 1100 meters. It's really meant for self-defense. But mind that window. There's a big window when that torpedo is not armed next to your ship. I forgot to talk about it in the match. AA defense, only because we were under attack from the carrier the entire game were we able to get a clear sky medal. This AA is not impressive at all. Maneuverability 29 knots, 740 meter turning circle, 14.2 second rudder shift time. So with a speed boost flag, you might crack 30. That might be the way to go. Concealment 12.6 on the surface, 10.4 from the air, 10.9 when firing in smoke. Back again to, we'll look at the stats of this one game. Your torpedoes take a significant time to arm, so at very close quarters you won't be able to use your torpedoes in the ship. If you go back to the beginning of the match, I show that arming window around the ship, and it is pretty big. Keep that in mind. All right, Citadel, not very well armored, looks kind of bonkers. Get this little raised section in the rear of the ship, but the rest of it is underwater. Putting the bow back on, really bizarre world armor scheme. There's the bow, 16 millimeters, and you do have an armor belt that I think that's not it. Goes up to 102 millimeters in that part of the armor belt. Turrets and barbettes down to the casemate, not heavily armored. Roof, not heavily armored. Sides and the upper barbette is more heavily armored. Turret faces are not sloped. Torpedo belt down in the very bottom of the ship. Casemate armor. I searched far and wide to try to find the armor belt here. So many pieces of armor, and I just couldn't do it. But I'm presuming it is the biggest number there is your torpedo belt or your side plating. Pardon me, of that armor section. I just can't. So I'm scrolling through here trying to see it light up, and I just can't get it to do it. So maybe I'm just too dumb to figure that out. All right. We'll throw on the superstructure armor. That's really meaningless. All right, so right now in the calendar, There is a commander who's going to be great in these ships. Andrew Cunningham is who I'm using for right now, but I intend, once I get that new commander unlocked, to put him in these ships, and I recommend you check out that calendar. And it doesn't take long, it's not very hard to accomplish the daily ops. You can use gold to reactivate ops you may have skipped earlier in the week, or at least maybe the day prior. So I had to do that today. So yeah, I recommend that new commander for these ships. But for right now, Cunningham. Anyway, that's the Tiger, folks. Hit the thumbs up.